Do you need an electric car? How far can it go on the highway? How convenient and comfortable is it? And most importantly, how much does it cost in 2024? If you haven't found answers yet, watch this video till the end. It'll be both interesting and useful. Today we will drive more than 500 kilometers in cool electric cars to compare LPG, diesel, and turbo gasoline with the most popular EVs. Behind me are my Volkswagen ID.4 Prime, Tesla Model Y, Tesla Model 3, and an interesting electric car from China. It is a localized car with CCS port and with support for English and Chinese, and its price starts at $25,000. Right now my car is 100% charged. The Tesla Model 3 is charging, and the Model Y, which was provided to us by BLS company, is also fully charged. The Skywell is already at the start, and against us today are a Peugeot 3008 2.0 turbo diesel and a Renault Koleos with a 2.5-liter gasoline engine. I don't think it's a super efficient car. Another diesel car is a Citroen C5, which we took solely to compete with the Peugeot. Unless you say that the Tesla Model 3 cannot compete with crossovers, we also have an Octavia A7 with a 1.4-liter gasoline engine. Everyone understands that after 350 kilometers at 130 kilometers per hour, an electric car will have to stop to charge, and while charging, diesel engines can either drive faster and arrive earlier or drive slower and save fuel. The electric vehicles will move at 130 kilometers per hour, while the diesel convoy will move at 110 kilometers per hour. This way we will save time and fuel and calculate how much more economical an electric car is. Or is it? We live in strange times, and a kilowatt of electricity at a high-speed public charging station costs 40 cents. This is very expensive, and with rates like that, any savings are wasted. But that is exactly why we are doing this research for you. I believe that with a life hack for home charging, an electric car is still a more profitable option. As always, at the end of the video, you will see two charts to compare. The first compares the cost of charging at home and at a slow public charging station. The second one will include high-speed public charging stations. So, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and let's go. Now, before we go, let me show you our EVs. My Volkswagen ID.4 Prime, as you already know, is a four-wheel drive, dual-motor version. We also have an interesting guest. Let me introduce her to you.
Hi there. My name is Yulia, and this is my 2017 Tesla Model 3. It's an American version converted to the European version. Rear-wheel drive, single-engine version. It has a 75 kilowatt-hour battery pack, but in 7 years, the available capacity has dropped to 69 kilowatt-hours. A message to the haters who like to say that EVs need to be replaced after 5 years. This car only lost 6 kilowatt-hours in 7 years. Nothing terrible has happened to it. Think of something new.
We thank the company BLS for this wonderful Tesla Model Y, the dual-motor long-range version. Let's see how much more economical it is compared to my Volkswagen ID.4, as they are essentially very close competitors.
Hello friends, one of today's cars is a Skoda Octavia 1.4 TSI turbo with a 7-speed sequential DSG transmission, a real people's car. I believe I will have the lowest fuel consumption of all the participants today at this speed.
Hello, my name is Alla, and I am a PR manager at Stellantis, Ukraine. Today, I'm driving a Citroen C5 with a 2-liter turbo engine, 180 horsepower, and an 8-speed automatic transmission. The car is super comfortable, and its suspension is considered to be one of the best. Dennis can attest to how comfortable this car is. We don't feel any potholes or bumps in the road. The car accelerates quickly and has low fuel consumption. It is very comfortable for a family, for long distance travel, and for city driving. By the way, I would like to note that this car has an interesting feature that its competitors do not have: 3 separate seats in the back. If you have a large family and need to install 2 child seats and still have room for another passenger, all 3 will fit very comfortably in the back.
Hi, I'm Sergey, and today I'm representing LPG cars. I believe that this is the best option because no diesel or electric car has come close to LPG on long distances. I am the only one with an LPG car today, but I represent 2 brands, Renault Koleos and Nissan. This car has a Nissan engine, which is already known for its reliability. It is also very easy to install an LPG system on it. Another advantage of this car is that it can travel much further than a gasoline car. It has 2 tanks, so when I run out of LPG, I don't even have to stop, while those with EVs do. This car can go more than 1,000 kilometers without refueling.
This is the Peugeot 3008 with a 2-liter Euro 5 turbo diesel engine. Among our participants is also the Citroen C5 AirCross with the same engine, but compliant with the Euro 6 standard. There is a 6-speed transmission here and an 8-speed transmission there, but it will be interesting to see how much common hardware, but different firmware, will show the difference in fuel consumption during this trip. In general, these are very similar cars, so the characteristics should be very similar. Who do you think will be more economical, Peugeot or Citroen, LPG or maybe electric cars? Write your predictions.
Now we are on the Zitomir bypass road. We've slowed down to 75, 80 kilometers per hour. Now let's see the intermediate results of the electric cars. ID.4 has lost 24% of its charge. Now it has 76%, the mileage is 86 kilometers, and the average consumption is 20.5 kilowatt hour. The average speed is 87 kilometers per hour as we drove together for the first 20 kilometers. Tesla Model 3 has an average consumption of 15.3 kilowatt hour. Tesla Model Y has 17.8 kilowatt hour. This is a twin-engine version. Skywell now has 79% of the charge, and the average consumption is 28 kilowatt hour, which is slightly higher than ID.4. Now let's have a look at data from non-electrics.
My consumption is 4.7 liters per 100 kilometers. Let's ask other participants what their figures are. Citroen, please tell us what your average consumption is. Citroen, 4.9 liters. Almost the same as mine, but it's a diesel, and I have a gasoline. Peugeot, how are you doing? Peugeot, 5.0 liters. Not bad either. Renault, what is your consumption? Renault, 8.9 gasoline and about 10 liters of gas per 100 kilometers.
By the way, an interesting fact, although we drive at 130 kilometers per hour and non-electrics go up to 110 kilometers per hour, we stopped for 10 minutes in Zitomir. And when we were leaving exactly 10 minutes later, our non-electric cars also entered the city. Therefore, our time difference between Kiev and Zitomir was only 10 minutes. We are approaching Rivne, and I would like to share our plan of action with you. Considering that we have 4 electric cars, we want to charge them as fast as possible and spend less time on it. We will try to charge 2 electric cars in Horbakiv at Oko charging station, and another 2 electric cars in Bila Krenitsia. By the way, this is a new charging hub, the last 2 stations of the Oko and Toka project. We haven't charged there yet. The Tesla arrived with a 30% charge. After 250 kilometers, the consumption is 16.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, a total of 41 kilowatt hours. A great result. We plug in the Tesla to charge. Yes, somehow the charging power is only 60 kilowatts, and it is not clear what is going on. The Skywell arrived with 34% charge and the ID.4 with 21%, so it was the loser. Great results, by the way. Skywell's consumption is 18.4 kilowatt hours. We plugged the Skywell in and the charge rate so far is 72. Not very fast, but it is already 35% charged. Meanwhile, we're going to Bila Krenitsia to charge the Tesla Model Y and Volkswagen ID.4. The first charge was successful for both cars. With God's help, it will be the same in Bila Krenitsia. The Model Y is following us, and I have deliberately not recorded its consumption because we will get correct results in Bila Krenitsia. For some reason, Julia's Tesla doesn't take more than 73 kilowatts. I wonder if this is a problem with the Oko charging station or something wrong with the Tesla itself. We stop at an Oko charging station and fortunately the station is free. The battery level of my ID.4 is 14%, while the mileage is 269 kilometers to the destination. Average consumption, 22.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Friends, unfortunately there's an issue. The dual motor version of the Tesla Model Y is more efficient at 4 kilowatts per 100 kilometers. We plugged it in to charge and observed a good power output of almost 140 kilowatts. Now let's plug in the Tesla Model Y. Somehow the second connector is not working properly. It is now delivering 90 kilowatts, while the first one is delivering 60 kilowatts. The connections, unfortunately, are mixed up. Friends, I wanted to note that it's 12:36 now, and we are already charging all 4 cars. We started charging 2 other EVs 10 minutes earlier, which didn't go according to plan. But that's life. We have a real test, and you can always arrive at a charging station and not get all the power. So everything is fair. Time goes by, everyone is charging, and my car, which uses the most, is charging even slower. Meanwhile, the non-electrics arrive 18 minutes later. Our gas car was a bit behind, but now it's back and we'll record the results. 4.9 liters per 267 kilometers. This is a great result. Do I have a feeling it will be the same? Yes, 4.9 liters. We can conclude that there is almost no difference between the 6-speed and 8-speed transmissions at low speeds. Both large crossovers have shown consumption below 5 liters, and you can already troll our electric cars. These are phenomenal results, 4.9 liters. But don't forget, that is a turbocharged gasoline. LPG showed a consumption of 8 liters, but we should probably add 20%. Write in the comments below how much you really need to add, because I actually don't know. I think it's about 11, 12 liters at 75% charge. We interrupted the Tesla charging as it will last up to 80%. We reconnected, but the power did not come back. At 65 to 63%, we were getting almost 100 kilowatts, and at 71%, we were getting an excellent charge. I am very happy with the port replacement. Non-electrics owners have already used their 10 minutes. Had coffee at Occo station, leaving as I talk to you. We will catch up with them and then increase the speed to 120 kilometers per hour. The charging took exactly 40 minutes, 28 minutes in parallel with Tesla, and another 12 minutes separately. We'll wait until it's up to 85% and move on. ID.4 is charged to 85%, Tesla 75%, Model 3 to 85%, Skywell 86%. Next, we will meet in 2 kilometers. Our charging took between 28 and 40 minutes, and the non-electrics are already moving at 90 kilometers per hour. No worries, we will catch them. I remind you that our goal is to arrive at the same time, so we'll see when we can catch up. We have caught up with our electric cars. Here's Julia, and here's Skywell. We continue our journey, reaching 125, 130 kilometers per hour, and we will catch up with our non-electrics. Friends, write in comments below who you are rooting for, electrics or non-electrics. As you can see, we have caught up with the convoy and are even passing it. Now we're going to pick up speed together. Here is the convoy overtaking. The experts have traveled more than 520 kilometers. We stop at the Occo gas station in Kalinivka. 10% of the charge is left. We can drive another 42 kilometers. Consumption was 20.8 kilowatt hours for 537 kilometers. The average speed was 101 kilometers per hour. And after the last charge, it dropped slightly to 19.4. Over the entire test, the consumption was 28 kilowatt hours. The Tesla Model Y used even less, 16 kilowatt hours over the last 266 kilometers. So if you multiply by 2, everything becomes clear. The Model 3 has an average consumption of 14.8 kilowatt hours over the last segment, which is a good result. We started with 85% charge, and now we have 26% left. Consumption was 19.3 kilowatt hours, a little more than expected, but the results are similar to the ID.4, sometimes more, sometimes less. Now let's think and calculate what our diesel, LPG, and gasoline cars have shown. The Citroen predictably showed 5.1 liters per 100 kilometers, and the Peugeot will probably show the same. I wonder what our Lion will show. Over the entire route, the consumption was 5.2 liters per 100 kilometers. Friends, we have a winner. The Icene 8-speed box won by 0.1 liters, although it is almost imperceptible. Now let's see what the LPG car will show us. It went the whole distance on one tank without refueling. First of all, how much fuel did it use? Let's check. According to the computer, it is 51 liters, almost 50.91 liters of gas. But we have a problem. It's actually 25 liters. This was checked on a Peugeot, and the tanks were filled to the brim. We got 28.4 liters. Meanwhile, the others are also filled to almost 30 liters.
Now it's the Skoda's turn. The price of gasoline is already $1.50 per liter. Peugeot spent a little less in liters compared to Citroen. As a result, the gasoline consumption is slightly less than 29 liters, which makes the numbers between Peugeot and Citroen similar.
All cars are refueled and the electric cars are charged. Now we can continue calculating the costs. You will see all the comparison tables.
Analyzing the first table, we have the results for the cost per kilometer, fuel consumption per 100 kilometers according to the fuel gauge and the onboard computer. The only remark I want to add is that, unfortunately, at the start, I didn't have time to check the diesel fill level on the Citroen C5 AirCross. So the 1.6 liter overconsumption was due to underfilling at the start. Going forward, we'll consider the consumption of these cars to be the same. Let's move on to the second group of tables. In these three tables, we see different use cases for electric car.
In the first table, both charges are fast at 40 cents.
Here you see all the costs according to the onboard computer, the trip cost and the final cost per kilometer. The second table shows the case if we start with a slow public charger, where the cost is 31 cents and we have the same data. The third table shows us the first home charging session. Analyzing all three tables, you can see how the cost per kilometer drops when using home or slow public charging. Also, friends, these tables will help you understand how, for example, you could travel to Lviv after charging at home. It's cheaper. And when leaving Lviv, you charge a bit more expensively at a slow public charger. It's straightforward. Do the analysis yourself. In the third table, we've listed all the cars based on their cost per kilometer. Peugeot and Citroen take second and third place, so it doesn't matter how you predicted it. Draw your own conclusions and consider switching to electric cars. We're also looking forward to your thoughts on this comparison. This was Denis signing off. Until next time.